Welcome back to another edition of Sound the Sirens. It's a victory podcast. It was one of the best games I've ever been to, one of the best experiences I've ever been to. My dad chickened out of it, but
I did not chicken out of it. I did not feel good. I was sick, so I was asleep until 2 o'clock.
But yeah, it's just nice to have two perspectives. You get to watch the replays, you get to see all the angles, and it's kind of a good way to have someone actually there and then someone actually seeing. There's a lot more goes on because when you're actually at the game, you can't really go back and look at every single play again, because when you're watching on TV, it's just all right, what happened, and
right,
you get to see it. Because sometimes with Xavier Hutchinson, that's probably we're gonna talk about it a little bit, but they showed that a lot
in the stadium.
They kept showing it because everyone was just so outraged. I don't know if that was on purpose. The guy in trouble, he wanted to to make the crowd more amped up, but it worked because that was probably the worst call I've ever seen in any sport at any level. It was I haven't seen that in flag football. The recess, that was egregious. Everyone agrees that's egregious.
You saw a couple at the Friday night Humboldt game, but otherwise, the thing that made it bad, I mean, like I've said on this podcast many times, I officiated football 10 years at the high school level. And just wait till we get down a little further along with this before we start doing this, because I don't get ahead of ourselves here. So I've been in that situation where I've made calls like that, but that wasn't you missed the call. That's the worst part about it. It wasn't a missed call. Yeah. It was just an that is called over officiating.
I think it's a larger picture of what's wrong in our society, how soft we've gotten.
Well, but it is in the rule book that you can't change your stride.
Are you serious?
It says that in the rule book that you can't change your stride if you are unopposed going into the end zone. So he changed one stride, and that was what that guy called. And so in officiating, they talk about the spirit of the rule. The spirit of the rule was not that. The spirit of the rule was Deion Sanders back in the day. It was Miami back in the day pulling their helmets off and all this stuff. It was not that. And so that was just an over-officiating issue, in my opinion, and it probably helped us win the game at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's literally going to be Austin Hillbrands, who's sat in our section, and one of our good friends is that's a turning point in the season. When Campbell, everyone just that was so egregious, and then we go to Xavier, the next player, right away, and Campbell's we're going to get you a touchdown, and then we ended up doing it but if we'd not gotten that touchdown,
right,
we have definitely we were bunch of fan bases were talking crap about the Tennessee fans. It was gonna get to that level. That's the first time I've ever been in Hilton. There's been some angry Hiltons, but that would have been an angry, vicious crowd. It already was. Even after we scored, we were still mad. We're booing 4 minutes after that.
Yeah,
we were so dumbfounded because we've had the Kansas State pickup flag. We've so many game-changing stupid penalties that don't need to be there. It's obvious Lazard got tackled. It's looking back, the guy is 30 yards away from you, and you change do a little strut into the end zone, and you call a flag. What? Why? Is that for the Oklahoma State's feelings? But in the same game where Mike Rose can break someone's ribs, but you can't do a little celebration before you get a half-yard line in the end zone. It's in the NFL too. Why? Who are we protecting? We're protecting grown men's feelings.
Well, it's just the college part of it really clamps down on the whole celebration thing. And Brent Bloom actually tweeted out the page from the rule book, because I think his dad's an official. I actually had his uncle as a basketball official at one of the games I coached a long time ago. But it's in the rule book as the way I just read it. But I'm trying to look it up again. There's other rules about removing your helmet is obvious. There's other parts of that rule too that are just a little over the top when it comes to what you can and can't do. Punching one's chest in front of another. It says punching one's own chest or crossing one's arms in front of the chest while standing over a prone player. So you knock somebody down and beat your chest or cross your arms while they're on the ground, that's a flag. Removing your helmet after a dead ball is a flag. What's the other one? Going to the stands, interacting with the spectators, like the Lambeau leap. That's a penalty. Tell me why that's a penalty.
But like, who's that hurting?
It's certainly no. It's the fun police. It's like Eric F said. It's the fun police. No, that's all it is.
It has to do with hurting people's feelings.
No, it's just the fun.
No,
police. The high schools. High school. He goes junior high, high school, college, and every level is a little tighter. High school is really tight when it comes to celebrations. I don't know if a high school kid would have gotten flagged for what we saw Saturday.
If him doing obviously that's the worst call I've ever seen. But let's just say Xavier did a flip in the end zone. Who is that hurting?
Well, remember back that comes from also the flip in the end zone thing, which is illegal, is because of Adrian Peterson. He did that against us and broke his collarbone. I mean, so that's partially trying to protect the players from themselves.
But in a game, where can we celebrate? What can we celebrate? Obviously we storm the field. That's more dangerous than anything public, but we can do that. But they can't celebrate a first down, celebrate a touchdown.
This is one that I think somebody could pull out of the rule book if they really wanted to and really ruin somebody's day. It says inciting an opponent or spectators in any other way, such as inciting the opponent's spectators. Really? So you run in the end, like Brees runs in the end zone, just kind of crosses his arms and is looking at the Kansas State fans. Is that inciting the other team's spectators? And then it goes on to say, such as simulating firing a weapon or placing a hand by the ear and to request recognition, like you're trying to get the crowd to hear you. All of that stuff is in the rule book. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, this goes back to, you think the Miami days were really bad. I was in Hilton when we used to have the plastic tops on cups when you got a drink. And I remember one of the bad calls that all of a sudden all of those lids came flying out of the stands and landed on the court. I remember when Steve Stepanovich from Missouri got introduced, and the previous summer he'd either tried to hurt himself with a gun or he called it a hunting accident. And when he got introduced, when we played Missouri, the student section shot off cap guns. We've gone from there to taking one high step going in the end zone is a 15-yard wipe off a touchdown penalty.
And let's just say Purdy throws a pick the next play.
Oh,
we're heaving things at and we lose that game like that. We know the margins at Iowa State. That's the margin. You can't we get a breakaway touchdown. The guy's 30 yards away from Xavier. He does a little, yeah. Anyways, you remember the movie The Express? Yeah.
Okay, so that's about the guy that was the
first African American Heisman,
right? And he was from Syracuse, and they played at West Virginia.
Yeah.
And if you remember, there's a scene in that movie where they're running out and they're dumping stuff on the players when they run out onto the field. And so I know a former college player from UNI that said when he went out to school out west somewhere, I can't remember what it was, they would dump urine on him when they ran out on the field. And so we've gone from that to this in a very short period of time. And I agree. It is over the top, protecting somebody's feelings.
Who was at these meetings all right, if they make a little strut in the end zone, we got to tamper down on that. That's happened too much in college football. It's ruining the sport. We need to put in a rule to help our players.
Hell, let them have fun. I mean, they're kids, first of all. But what was he doing that would have offended an Oklahoma State coach, even if he did high step it from the 5-yard line on in? What was he doing to offend Oklahoma State? Nothing. He was celebrating a fantastic play. That's all it was. It wasn't trying to show somebody up. He wasn't turning around holding the ball in the face of somebody. He didn't go take the ball and hand it to the D-back as he's running back to the sideline saying, hey, I got you, or whatever. I mean, that's showing people up. This was not. I mean, it is. I think Eric Heff said it perfectly. It is fun police, and this is supposed to be a game. We're playing football. We're not working football. It is supposed to be fun, and they're trying to take some of the fun out of the game for the players. That is my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of positives to talk about, but that's like one of the worst. That was
Awful.
But Iowa State fans love to be outraged, though. We will boo for years.
So let's compare. You said, you saw the way Campbell reacted. Campbell on the TV replay goes absolutely bananas for about 10 to 15 seconds. He tells Xavier to go back in the game, and 4 out of 4 plays were run for Xavier. One of the plays, Purdy was on a read, and he could have given it to Xavier, but he pulled it and kept it himself. The other 3 plays were to Xavier. Yeah. You don't think that was on purpose? That was sticking it to him, saying, we're going to still give this kid the touchdown.
Yeah, and Purdy was on point all game, and Xavier, this is probably the Xavier and Purdy game. Like, they played outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. Like,
Purdy's lights out right now.
Purdy, we've talked, like, I got to admit, I was dogging Purdy the first couple games, like, but obviously, like, Niang had his downtime. Like, there's been Iowa State, like the Tinsley advisor team lost to Drake for crying out loud.
Mel, we've talked about it. You were hard on Melvin Edgin when he was younger.
Yeah,
I mean, but so when you were saying you were dogging him, you weren't dogging him. You were just expecting more, and we were all expecting more. He was expecting more of himself at the beginning. But I don't
think it was. We were kind of unfair on Purdy. But it was like, not just Purdy's playing well. The play calling's way better. Brees Hall looks healthier.
Offensive line's playing better.
Kohler was banged up. Like, for what? Like,
our kicker was banged up.
Yeah, and it all rides behind Tom Manning and Brock Purdy. No matter what, whose fault it is. Like, how many drop balls into against Iowa, drop balls. Like, that's not Purdy's fault.
So one detail of the game that when I rewatched it is that the one pass, and I know we go back to the Iowa game all the time because I still can't believe we lost that game, but there's a crossing pattern to Xavier in that game that he threw behind Xavier, and Xavier didn't catch it.
Yeah. 2
of the passes to Xavier on a similar route Saturday were also behind him. They weren't in front of him or hitting him in the numbers. They were like, if he's running to his left, they hit him in the right shoulder, and Xavier made the catch. It's a similar mistake that was made in the Iowa game, except Xavier caught it this time, and it wasn't thrown as far behind him. So what that says is, those in my opinion, those first couple games, our timing just wasn't as sharp as it is right now. And right now, it is really sharp.
Yeah, and also their opposing punter didn't punt it inside the 5 every single time.
Correct, yeah.
And our special team, like, Mevis is finally the punter, and he kicks, like, his second pick was a 60-yard punt.
That was a big one, too.
Like, why hasn't he been punting the whole time? Like, we knew he played last year at Fordham, I believe, played kicker and punter. But
we're here
now.
I mean, I just heard for the first time tonight on Coach Campbell's call-in show that he was hurt in the spring, and he was hurt in the summer. And so he obviously was dinged up more than we really knew about till now. Yeah. And now I think Brees was dinged up. He looks fantastic. Kohler is Kohler again.
With kickers, they're only dinged up. Like, they're only out there for so long, but we saw him kick it out the end zone. Like, the first kick, I'm like, all right, we finally got their guy. Like, but you never really see it.
I mean, this game was Oklahoma State's really good.
Yeah, their defense is really good.
Yeah, I mean, and they are the best tackling team we've seen all year. I mean, if you go back and watch the game, they don't miss tackles. And they have that one guy that won 4 state championships in Oklahoma, in wrestling, which is a very good wrestling state. He never missed a tackle, number 20. He was fantastic. I can't remember his name. Anyway, he hit hard. He's the one that stood Brees up at the goal line a couple times. And I think they're the best tackling team we've seen to date. They just don't miss tackles.
Yeah, they didn't create turnovers like Iowa did. But yeah, Brees Hall only had 68 yards rushing, or we had total 68 rushing, and we win. But if you told us before the game, when there's no way we win.
Yeah, he said I think he had 70, but then we'd have to take off the sacks as a negative. So yeah, I mean, if you would have told me we'd be under 100 yards rushing, I don't think there'd be any way we'd win. But
yeah, it was the very beginning of the game was like, all right, we're looking kind of slowish, but our defense came out and played. They have dudes too, like that one of their passes, like they had 2 really good. Spencer Sand had 2 really good home run throws that nailed them. Like, there's no reason. There's double coverage, and the receiver makes a play right on the money.
Yeah, and I heard somebody refer to that as a mistake in the secondary. What's the mistake?
Like,
I mean,
Young was like this close to tipping it.
You had Sheem Young in the front, and you had Eisworth in the back. They were both on him, and he dropped it in the bucket.
Well, like the Paul Rhodes era, the guy's open by 10 yards.
Well, I mean, but I don't think that was a mistake. I think that was just a football player making a really, really good play.
Like the best receiver and the best, like they're one of the best quarterbacks, like home run wise. Like if he hits like the home run like wise in the Big 12, he's like one of the best quarterbacks in the Big 12 to like have the long throw to hit him right on the money. Because Sanders kind of weird because like he can do those long runs, but the short ones he kind of struggles on.
Right.
But yeah, I thought I wasn't very impressed coming into the game, but he impressed me in that game, and we just outlasted him. And
thank God their kicker sucks.
Yeah. My God, it was like 32-yarder. I'm like, yeah.
Missed that one at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Missed the one in the beginning.
You can't miss a 32-yard field. It was just like basically last year, but like reversed our way. Yeah. Sally missed a couple field goals,
and they're. I mean, I'm being sarcastic, but their kicker doesn't suck. I think he was perfect before those two kicks.
Yeah, but he didn't miss one all year before that. But yeah, just the margins went in our favor this game. Will McDonald's really good. Brock Purdy's pretty good too, and
we get J.R. Singleton played a little bit again. That's good to see.
I saw him too.
Isaiah Lee, body slammed a guy a couple times. He is a monster. So
Ryan Vance had probably the tackle of the game, right? Like before the missed field goal, it was like he just had a really good tackle to hold them for the 4th and 1. Then Matt Gandy, I don't know why they didn't go for it there, but they just get the field goal and miss a 32-yard kick.
Will McDonald's 2 sacks were that was just a man taking over saying, I'm going to get this dude and call it a day.
One of the loudest roars. Yeah, and Jack tries.
So we're gonna try something new. We're gonna turn on the highlights and kind of as we go through the game here, and so we can kind of go look at the game in a little more detail once you start it now. And so we're just doing the highlights off of YouTube. We just watched the first play. This is the second play that's on the highlight. This is the
Kohler.
They stuffed us and
before this play, like it was the first drive where
that was Kohler. That was a shovel pass to Kohler, which we've never seen before.
But
this year,
the spots that all game were pretty bad.
Thought they were okay. There's Sanders getting outside. He just juked one of our dudes out to get the first down, and that's just an athlete making a play.
Yes, their running back who's a transfer.
See, so it's positive. That play right there is where Rose got hurt. All right, so the play before that, him and Zach Peterson were tackling the same guy. So Rose missed a tackle. When was the last time you saw Rose miss a tackle? Never.
Yeah.
And so the play before that, Zach Peterson and him converged on the running back, and Zach Peterson just absolutely lit up Mike Rose and hit him in the same shoulder. So he hits him in that shoulder on that play, and Rose is out. So now it's 2nd and goal without Rose, and he's on the sideline on his knees, and they're looking at his shoulder. That was that hit by Zach Peterson. I'm hoping doesn't keep Rose dinged up all year, because it was obviously just two guys trying to make a play.
Yeah, which I think with our backups, we've had probably the best backups in school history, because we've had so many. Like Vaughn is a starter, Big 12 starter, but he just happens to play behind Rose and Ryan Vance, who've been playing there forever. And it's one of those things where we would be doomed. Like if AJ Klein, Jake Knott go down, like the backups haven't been playing for years. Now we are in the position where even if Mike Rose misses a half against West Virginia, we still have a shot.
Right. And he did miss more snaps this game than he has in a long time. So
yeah, but just having depth is crucial, and having the super seniors. And one player that really impressed me was the Craig O'Donnell freshman.
Yeah.
You
see him when the guy comes around the end, he tries to stiff arm him, and he knocks the stiff arm out of his hands. That was kind of cool.
Yeah. We had a lot of – Sheem Young was just an animal.
Yeah.
Absolute animal.
Boy, did you remember that one play in the second half? There's the missed field goal at the end of the first half. Second quarter. There's a crossing pattern with one of the Oklahoma State guys, and he missed it, and Sheem pulled up. Otherwise, that guy might be in the hospital.
Yeah.
Because if he catches it, Hasheem is going to light him up.
Which Hasheem, like, you got to give him credit. He's a stud, but he's not gotten a targeting call this year.
No, that's right.
Like,
that's right. Well, that was a big concern at the beginning of the year.
He must have really adjusted because last year he was like the first year playing at Iowa State, like college football, and he just wanted to prove that he can nail everyone, and he did last year. And
how about Russ?
Russ was a
he
stud
caught.
too.
I was telling somebody he never catches passes. The very next play catches a pass.
Yeah,
it's his first and goal.
He was kind of struggling early on, but now he's kind of really embedded himself in the offense, which is huge because it's an important role now for blocking, and Brees really feeds off of that. Our tight ends blocking, and Russ has gotten a lot better over the season.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really this is the series at the goal line where we ended up having to pass it to Xavier on 4th and goal to get it. I really was disappointed we couldn't punch that in through the running game, but Oklahoma State is great tacklers, and they made fantastic tackles at the goal line every play.
And what I want to see is maybe because when you see Deckers,
this is the play where he's acting like he's throwing up money. How is that not inciting the other team's fans?
I don't know. Yeah. Tampa played okay. Like, Tampa's still a freshman.
He's scratching the surface. Yeah.
He's so athletic. He can, Anthony Johnson was not perfect by any means this freshman year, and he grew into probably the second or third best cornerback we've ever had. So, yeah, Tampa. It's always the second, when you have a stud, one of the best cornerbacks, and obviously the opposite side also is not going to be that good, but he's got the potential to be just as good as Anthony Johnson down the road.
He's so athletic. If you've seen his dunking highlights, it's crazy.
Yeah, Brees finally got his long run in the third quarter to start our offense, since their offense came out and got 3 and out, which is big on our defense. And
here it is.
Yeah, there's the infamous
12 minutes left in the third quarter. One high step, little high step, and then he does more in this.
But it doesn't.
It's not. Yeah, it's insanity.
But like you said, that Campbell only freaked out for 15 seconds, but that's because we just punched it. We didn't slow down. We just went and scored. But
if you make a comparison to that and the Michigan State game with Eustace, and Eustace absolutely lost his mind when we played them and lost in the Elite Eight. What if we react more like Campbell and just stick it to Michigan State rather than just completely going crazy?
Completely different scenario there.
Why?
Because it's
a way a coach reacted to something.
Win or lose, this wasn't if this was the playoff game, I think Campbell would have.
I don't think so. I think two different personalities.
The Big 12 championship, did Campbell not lose it for 4 minutes?
Yeah,
and then we threw a pick.
But he didn't get a penalty and get kicked out of the game.
When was the last time a head coach got kicked out of a college game?
I don't know, but he didn't get a flag. I mean, I'm just saying that I just think we're talking about the way they react.
The Big 12 championship got a flag.
No, I'm talking about this game. He just anyway.
Yeah.
Apples and oranges.
Which, hopefully, if we ever get to that position where we're in the Sugar Bowl, we don't get hosed like we usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sanders is good. Yeah. Sanders. Yeah, their receivers are pretty good too.
Yeah, I mean
Gundy has a good offense.
I really like Gundy. I mean, this is one of those teams that they're really good, but we have no animosity towards Oklahoma State, in my opinion. I mean, nobody likes Oklahoma, nobody likes Texas, but Oklahoma State's another state school. They don't get the 5 stars. They're very similar to us.
Okie State's basically Iowa State that has a billionaire that went there.
Yeah.
That's all it is. So they had the billionaire to pay for all the facilities. They had Eddie Sutton, who was there forever, and it was just basically Eddie Sutton, who was our Johnny Orr, who just stayed there longer, and I think Eddie Sutton had obviously a better peak than Johnny did. But
I think Eddie Sutton got caught cheating at Kentucky. That's how he ended up at Oklahoma State.
Yeah, it was.
I tell you what, how good is Xavier Hutchinson? Yeah. I mean, they didn't have anybody that could guard him.
Yeah, this is the Xavier Hutchinson game. We're gonna remember him for that play, but he played at lights out. He obviously could be playing for Oklahoma right now.
Right.
He would be probably one of the best receivers on Oklahoma, but just JUCO in Iowa and wanted to come to Iowa State, and that's the Matt Campbell effect because Xavier was JUCO, but the first 2 years he was in JUCO in Iowa, we were Purdy's first 2 years, which was one of the best stretches in Iowa State history.
He drew too big, and it's nice to see Tariq Milton come back too.
Yeah.
I mean, Tariq Milton has been MIA for a while. He had a nice catch, and then he had a long run in the fourth quarter.
It's just the emergence of Jalen all week.
Yeah. Did he have 3 pass interferences? Or
2 or 3. Yeah.
Those are 2. I think he had 3. That's just because they can't guard him.
Yep. It was just it was one of the most intense crowds I've ever been to.
So were you at the TCU game when everybody rushed the field? You weren't at that one?
I was in Arizona. So.
Yeah, that wasn't. I wouldn't say that was intense, but it was a fun game.
Yeah, but whenever there's controversy in Iowa State and our emotion, it's a big game, and we feel like we're getting screwed, the lid comes off the place.
Right. Well, it was also a sellout too. It was a beautiful day, so we had plenty of tailgating fuel and everybody. And tell you what, we've talked about Mevis a million times, but how money has he been lately? He is just phenomenal right now. Yeah, Wazirike, I think, played one of his best games. He's really become a force on the inside.
Mevis, he's the answer for our punting. For a third-string punter, man, he should be, obviously he was hurt, but, man, we should have been using him the whole time because we probably win the Baylor game if he's punting.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Dunn had to just dud, and they ran it back all the way to the 20, and our defense was lights out that game, and it didn't matter because they got the ball in the 20, and we still stopped them, and the field goal was the difference.
Yeah, talking about winning in the margins. I mean, that's the margins that we're talking about, punting and kicking, and the reason we lost those 2 games is because of that. But
yeah, if you could argue.
So how many fourth downs did we go for and not get Saturday?
Yeah, 2 or 3. But there were so many just bad spots. Both teams. I don't know if I just recognize that because Humboldt usually has that
that's high school.
But I don't know. Officials are. I don't know if it's just whenever we're obviously biased because we see all the angles and they just see it right so fast.
Yeah, I think that's one of the hardest calls is the spot because you have to see where the ball is at when his knee is down. So there was one spot with Purdy. I still think he was across the goal line. It was pretty close, but they never reviewed it. That's the thing that I think they should review more spots because it is such a hard call. That throw right there in the fourth quarter that he threw in the end zone was probably one of the best passes we've seen all year by anybody. I mean, it was only one. The only one that could catch it was him, and it was either going to be incomplete or touchdown.
Yeah, Sanders did that. They're one of the best receivers.
Tay Martin.
Yep. Yeah.
And Brees has really emerged as one of our better receivers too. I mean, he's really a threat from catching the ball out of the backfield.
And I know, so we don't use that until the fourth quarter when we just hold that in our back pocket because, Brees has also had really good blocks for Purdy. That's kind of an underrated thing. And I don't know how that ref, when Xavier caught that and they called it incomplete, and then one of the refs changed it. I don't know how.
This one right here.
That's a catch in the NFL. He had his knee down and his elbow. That's a catch in the NFL.
Yep, it is.
And, he was special.
Yeah, Xavier just turned it to a different level when he had that one bad call on the.
Yeah, Tariq Milton finally
Yeah, that was awesome. I'm happy for him.
If we could just get him involved, it's just down the seam he's really good, but it's just not part of our offense. But we got Brees' 18th or 19th straight Big 12 touchdown.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And Will McDonald just absolutely eating the guy alive. You can't.
Yeah, it was a bad snap, and then Will McDonald beats him. That's a bad combination.
Yeah, you can't bobble the snap.
How about the guy from Oklahoma State playing with a dislocated elbow?
Yeah, that's a different type.
Dislocated elbow 2 weeks ago, and he's got a brace on it.
That's a different type of toughness that I don't have.
That's insane.
Yeah, that was loud when Will McDonald had that second sack, and then we went 3 and out the next offense possession.
I mean, and we tackled really well in the fourth quarter too. I mean, the play that pretty much ended the game was all tackling. I mean, just making good hits and not having somebody run through your arms, which we've seen in our day before. But
it's just an interesting play to do a bubble screen of 4th and 2.
The last play, if I'm looking at this right, Mike Rose is not in.
He got hurt the play before.
He is not in the game.
That's what I said. Anthony Johnson or Mike Rose wasn't in. I'm like, all right, well, we still stop him. Barely.
And I tell you what, the referee kind of added to the crowd, too. He put a little extra oomph when he signaled first down the opposite direction.
There was a good video on Twitter of that. It was just like, it was dead silent to just a roar.
I'm glad that they didn't review that one either, because that play.
They did. They just didn't have the video.
Yeah, but I mean, because that guy was on top of somebody. I think they could have given him the first down.
There's just no video evidence.
Yeah.
But that's like a thing I've heard. They have to have the technology to put like a chip in the ball to see like the exact where the ball is.
I don't know.
Obviously,
I don't think that's the beauty of sports, is leaving some of the human element in it. But at the end of the game, it was on Twitter today. I saw it when it happened live. But Campbell walks Sanders off of the field to make sure he can get off with all the students coming in. Then he goes over and makes sure Gundy gets it, because they're now creating a little tunnel to keep the visiting players from getting run over by a drunk fan. And I thought that was pretty classy by Campbell, walking them off like that.
Yeah, because like the West Virginia ones where we got fined, and we finally have a plan in place. Like before then, we just like winged it.
And Jamie said that tonight. I mean, that's the reason we didn't get fined, is because we do have a plan. I mean, the cops came out and make like a little tunnel to get them off the field, and it worked. I mean, but people criticize people for rushing the field. We just spent a long time talking about the fun police.
Yeah.
Let them rush the field if they want. Who cares? I mean, it wasn't like we were favored, of course, but we're not ranked, and they're in the top 10.
But there's an other side. Like Michael was for the Iowa Penn State one, where people just break their ankles. Like there's that side of the portion too. But there's risk to everything. I was kind of like, why were we storming the field? But like, we've gone through so much crap. Like, we finally have a sold-out stadium. We're beating a top 10 team. Like, just let them have it. Like, the students, like, especially last year, they're doing online classes, and they finally, like, especially the freshmen, like Abby, like, didn't really have the senior year of high school.
Yeah, those kids that are freshmen in college right now pretty much missed 18 months of high school, and, like, your sister didn't get to go watch your brother play. You get to watch him play twice last year. I mean, they didn't even get to go to high school games last year.
Would Abby or her friends care that we storm the field, how it looks on Twitter or the other college football fan bases? Like,
who would – I don't care. If we were ranked 5th and they weren't ranked and we stormed the field, now maybe that looks dumb.
The only one that – the Storm Corps, I'm like, that's unacceptable. When we beat Iowa with Niang, we're ranked 4th. I'm like, why are we storming the fort? That's the only one I'm like, come on.
Yeah, I know.
We're better than that, but
it was
boy, how much
would we give to?
Speaking of basketball, Blake Henson just quits the team, and it just kind of deflated. Like the Foster thing, that's legal. Like, obviously, good riddance if that's true or whatever.
It was more than that,
but like that's like, okay, we got that cancer out of the program, and then we just have another one the 3 weeks before the season. But this first year is just like get rid of the bad apples or the kids that don't want to be in the program, like know their role in the program at least. I'm not saying they're bad kids, but like just like know their roles in the program, like to go forward what TJ wants. It's better now than in the middle of the season. Like Lucas Steiger.
Lucas Steiger's a great example.
Lucas Steiger just quits the team in the middle of the season, like
Christmas break.
Yeah, it was just ridiculous.
And we've been chanting Luka, trying to get him to play for.
Like,
I think
Chris Colvin too. Like,
right,
really prime recruit comes to Iowa State. I don't know. I was really little when that happened, but you probably remember he was not very.
Yeah, you were pretty excited when he
came good attitude, and like the company I work for like does like fat heads and all that stuff, and I want my uncle to get a fat head of Chris Colvin, and by the time we got it, he wasn't even on our team anymore. I'm just like, all right, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, so TJ had the meetings with the players to define their role, is what he said, and then he quits. So he obviously did not like his role.
Yeah,
I mean, so that's he probably said, I've been waiting 18 months to play. I went through a heart thing. I should be starting. I'm just spitballing here, thinking about what should have happened. Probably wasn't going to start. Probably wasn't going to, could have possibly been eighth man, and he probably didn't like it and said, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and that's it, which is fine. I mean, we have 10 guys. In the Fred years, we played 8. I mean, we had
football players on our team. First year.
Well, the first year I think we played like 6. I mean, so we just can't afford to have any injuries. But it's kind of like the whole Hoosiers thing. I mean, when the Hoosiers coach kicks a guy off the team because he's got a bad attitude and he's only got 5 guys, ends up finishing game with 4. That's kind of the line in the sand a basketball coach has got to draw. Because I've said it many times. I coached basketball a long time in high school. I'm really looking forward to doing this during basketball because I've had to make some of those decisions, albeit at the high school level, about this kind of stuff. But I had a hard time sometimes managing egos when I was coaching high school. I cannot imagine taking 12 guys who were all the best player on their high school team, some of them the best player in their state, and then telling them, no, you're not going to play. Yeah, that takes a pretty high character guy to be able to handle that. On the player side.
Yeah, like Terrence Lewis, he was probably the best or one of the best players coming in Milwaukee or Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And then Steve Perlman didn't really – it's hard to manage that. It's you didn't come –
Jacoby Long?
Yeah. Second best player behind Malik Monk in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And, it's just – it'll be it's just kind of hard to, anticipate the season when, we're picked last, and then a week later we lose one of our best shooters. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And, I don't know.
Yeah, it's too bad. But it's just the way it is. I mean, do you really think that's going to keep us out of the Final Four? No. I mean, we're just trying to
rebuild.
It's a rebuilding year. We just got to, temper expectations. And I just hope we're fun to watch. I mean, I think that's what we all ought to be looking forward to. We need to be, a team that there's 10 minutes left in the game. We're still watching the game because we're still in it and we're still playing hard. We're going to have nights where Condon gets in foul trouble and we're going to be really small.
But the difference between the fan base for the Fred first year between when the Fred left and Prom was there, we kind of got spoiled, really, really spoiled. Our fan base before that was picking players up to all right, let's go. There was none of that I've at the end of the program era. That really there wasn't there was some that's not non-existent, completely non-existent, but wasn't what we used to be not just hanging on every single play, oh no. No, we can Iowa State fans have power in basketball. We've seen it so many times. Just get behind the team, it doesn't take much to spark Hilton. And just hustle plays and threes, hopefully. Just sparks Hilton magic back and
the enthusiasm's been gone for a while. Yeah. I mean, and I think same thing happened before Fred came. And I'm just hoping TJ knows the history. He's married to a former Iowa State player, loves Ames, and so we can't find anybody more invested in this town and Ames than TJ.
Started his career at Iowa State. But do you think it's a bond? The Hilton Magic is kind of it's the core of it is obviously loyalty, alumni, it's our pro team. But the relationship between the coach and the fans, there was you have to trust the coach. The Fred, the Johnny Orr, those are our guys. Fred obviously is the poster child of Iowa State. Yeah. Went to play at Iowa State and put in ball what Johnny used to be, but Johnny Orr lit Hilton Magic what it was, and Fred brought it back. I don't know. Do you think you were there for the Larry years? Was there that a relationship between the fans and Larry? Was that there not as much as Johnny?
Well, I mean,
or is our players really good?
If you go through the history of it, when Johnny took over, we were horrendous. And the urban legend out there, which is a true story, is that when Johnny took the job and came home for his first from his first practice, he made a pitcher of margaritas with his wife and goes, "We're going to be really bad." He came out. All the alumni that are in my era remember them playing the Johnny Carson theme song when he came out, and he'd come up and pump up the crowd. Johnny would run out of the tunnel and run all the way down to the end of the opponent's bench and cheer on the fans to get them pumped up to play. And so that's the beginning of the excitement that Johnny brought. And then he brought a style of basketball that got everybody excited. And then when you go to I forgot what you even asked me.
Like the
relationship. So then when you go to the, go into the Larry era, he's preceded by Tim Floyd, who had some success. And, we won the Big 8 tournament. And so the fan base was connected. And then we bring in, Larry, who is a hard-nosed guy that dropped more F-bombs on the sideline than anybody that I've ever seen. But he was intense and wanted our kids to play hard like we were just talking about. We want our kids to play hard, and they did. And so I think that's what made everybody like Larry, is because we called it Larry ball. Yeah. We'd out-rebound everybody. We'd play hard. He benched Pfizer in the Iowa game when Pfizer wasn't doing what he was told early in his years there, and, gained a lot of respect from people when he did that. And then when you bring in McDermott, he was, a little more laid-back personality, and then when you don't win and you have that combination, that's when the enthusiasm starts to wane, in my opinion. I think Greg McDermott's a fantastic coach, obviously. I think he's a wonderful human being.
Wasn't a fit,
It just wasn't a fit. And then Fred comes in, and, he's Fred.
Yeah.
And everybody was saying, how are you going to be the one to fire Fred if it doesn't go well, kind of like the Scott Frost thing in Nebraska, but it went well. And then Fred decided to go to the NBA, and then we bring in a completely different personality. I mean, Steve would come out of the tunnel. Fred was still getting the cheers like Johnny did, but Fred didn't run up and down the court. But Steve was just so laid back that he, didn't have any enthusiasm towards the fans. He didn't, he had then the kids started not playing hard, and that is where it kind of went south, in my opinion. I mean, I think our fans appreciate effort. We are a very blue-collar fan base.
But
we're a state school that has a lot of engineers and people and farmers and veterinarians and teachers that come out of this school that work really, really hard. And we like to see that in our football teams and our basketball teams. And I don't think we've seen that the last few years, which is where the enthusiasm has gone.
We were looking at the Stephen Leith or whatever. We were looking – Fred and Steve were very similar, like down to earth, like not like ego dies. They're like we were trying to replace Fred with turning another Fred.
But that wasn't the saying, right. But that isn't what happened. I mean, Fred would beat. I remember Fred beating his fist on the table at a press conference because he was so mad about our effort.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Prom do anything like that? Never.
No, that's true. But what I'm saying, like from the wider view, like we were trying to hire a guy, but like. Prom was like at Murray State winning like 20 to 30 games. Like there's like no reason to be that. Like Tim Floyd, then we go completely opposite with Larry, who's just like a hothead, really defensive minded.
Well, Tim was pretty hot too.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. There's a lot of YouTube clips of him getting kicked out of UTEP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're just trying to.
My opinion is that we saw passion in Fred. Because we saw the way he played, first of all, in high school and college. We saw when he would not when he was unhappy with some of the way his players played. But we also put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
And that's what Hilton Magic. I think people had a problem with Tim Floyd back in the day because we weren't putting up a lot of points because we were more focused on defense. I vividly remember, I lived in Nebraska at the time, and I would sit in my car in my driveway and find a station in western Iowa that I could barely get the call-in show for Tim Floyd so I could listen to it. This is pre-internet and everything, so my wife still makes fun of me to this day for doing that. And I remember somebody calling in, criticizing Tim Floyd his first or second year because we weren't running it up and down the floor, and Floyd got mad at that guy and said, we play winning basketball.
Yeah, which
he shut him up, and he did.
He replaced Phil Jackson for crying out loud.
Yeah.
At the Bulls, so...
Yeah,
we can talk about basketball forever because it's obviously where we started our passion with Iowa State.
But I tell you what, football, we have got some monstrous games coming up. Every game is a big one. West Virginia is not going to be as good as Oklahoma State, but it is a tough place to play. It's a hard place to go. You get to go, right?
Yep, me and Barry and and Barry and Paige are heading down to Morgantown. And
Are you going to sit in the box?
I don't know. Well, I gotta see where tickets are at, but we'll
I'm
be
anxious
there.
to see what you think of Morgantown and how you get it's a different world. I mean, a lot of mountains and stuff. Should be kind of
crazy
a cool drive.
It's crazy how Iowa State is the closest Big 12 team to West Virginia,
Right.
which is insane because I'll know that well when we're driving all the way there and all the way back. But yeah, I'm excited. Morgantown, I've heard a lot of nice things about Morgantown, and we'll see what it's all about. And I think we might do a preview of West Virginia later down this week. But yeah,
and we got Texas on the horizon. I cannot wait for that one.
Yeah, that'll be especially. It's gonna be a hostile crowd because at least we know Okie State's coming back to Ames, but this might be the last time Texas comes to Ames for a long time.
I think we might start chanting "Horns Down" on Sunday morning sometime, and they'll go through till next Saturday. Yeah. Everybody's going to be so cranked up for that Texas game, but it won't mean near as much if we don't figure out a way to pull it off Saturday. We got to be West Virginia one way or the other.
Yeah, I think we got some dinged up guys, but we got depth, and Purdy is on fire. Brees is doing his thing. Kohler's looking healthy too.
Xavier Hutchinson is man amongst boys right now.
He's playing at All-American level right now. And
I tell you what, that Freiler kid, he hits like a truck.
Yeah.
I mean, TJ Tampa is, if you watch him rush the passer in a couple plays, he is fast. He can jump. Will McDonald is doing Will McDonald things right now.
Will McDonald, probably the most talented Iowa State player at his position of all time.
Yeah, you'd probably have some.
Or at my lifetime.
It's pretty easy to say.
The end? No,
I mean, I'm talking. You said
there's a guy.
It's all perception. I mean, he's the guy that we remember now. I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying.
But okay, not to bash Patrick Neal, but he's your neighbor. But we go from Patrick Neal, my childhood, to this guy who's might be a top 10 pick. That's why he's good, but he's even more that good because we finally have a top 10 first round pick since you were in elementary school.
Yeah, no, I mean we've got talent running out our ears right now. I mean compared to what we've had in the past, but
Patrick Neal beat.
Why are we talking about Patrick Neal? Patrick Neal's a good guy. We're trying to get his dad on the podcast. Leave Patrick alone.
That's why you don't interrupt me. I was keep going. He was the starting D end when we beat Oklahoma State 10 years ago.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So. He's just an example of I don't know. He beat a top 2 team, destroyed the BCS. Patrick Neal, I'm sorry. Will McDonald's was really good.
I think Patrick would probably agree that Will McDonald's better than he was.
Yeah,
I mean, I hate to say it, but
a hot take, but
just call Neal and Associates Insurance.
Yeah.
Go give him some business, and Patrick will feel much better.
Yeah, he. Starting on one of the best wins in Iowa State history, so you can't really say much to him.
No.
Yeah. So we'll have the West Virginia preview coming up too, and this is fun. Absolute monster win for us and monster day. Perfect weather. Fan base was incredible, and ended storming the field just like 10 years ago. And it was one I'll never forget.
Yeah, I'm glad. Wish I could have been there, but we had your brother's game on Friday night. We finished the season undefeated, and I didn't feel very good at the game. And then I got up Saturday morning, and I really didn't feel good. I just fought off a cold. And
watching on a 70-inch screen is not a bad.
I'm just glad I found somebody to take the tickets. I mean, if somebody got to take the game, go to the game with his little boy. They'd never been to an Iowa State game before.
Not a bad one to start.
So that was their first experience going to an Iowa State game. The little guy is seventh grade or sixth grade, and that was his first experience in Jack Trice. So
yeah, my first remembrance is playing Ohio and freaking
yeah. So
the game the year after Seneca, and I don't know if he won. It was I think John Walter's first game calling that.
Really?
That was when, that was the year after Pete Taylor passed away.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a trivia question. I heard somebody say that Eric Heft has only worked with 2 people. I think. No, that's right. He only worked with Pete Taylor and John Walters because there was somebody pre-Eric Heft with Pete Taylor. I can't remember who it was.
Was it Gary Thompson?
No, on the radio.
Gary Thompson was fantastic on the radio.
Yeah, he was fantastic on TV.
That's a bucket list interview. I wanted to interview Gary Thompson because he's
got some stories.
He's probably got some stories. So
yeah,
beat Will Chamberlain.
Yep, in the Armory, had pigeons flying around in the rafters when they're playing.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So, hey, remember the special going on this week? Go to grandviewbeef.com. You can still get your free beef sticks. If you enter the Sound the Sirens promo code, you get 10 free beef sticks. Throw them in the cart. Use the Sound the Sirens code STC, and you'll get those beef sticks for free. We're also going to throw in a free T-shirt. So if you order from Grandview Beef this week, send us through. We'll get a hold of you because I'm talking to them, and they're going to tell us if there's an order come through. But you got to use the promo code STC. It's a fantastic company, fantastic beef. You want to put some beef to get some nice beef for your tailgate or watching the game Saturday. Go to grandviewbeef.com, make an order, but then throw in 10 beef sticks into your cart. Use the promo code STC for Sound the Sirens. You'll get those beef sticks for free. Also, go to chewworks.com. I've talked about them a million times. It's a chew thing our dog loves. Single ingredient collagen chew with a hold to chew that keeps them from swallowing them, keeps them safe. Use the Sound the Sirens code STC there. You get a free koozie, and you also get a free T-shirt. So check that out this week. I think we might try to do something on Twitter again as a giveaway. Follow Thomas on the Sound the Sirens on Twitter, TikTok,
YouTube. Yeah, subscribe to our YouTube. It's kind of sad numbers, but we gotta ramp that up.
YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, MySpace. No. MySpace. Send us a letter, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've ran out of jokes. Oh yeah, my grocery store joke killed it on Twitter.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Yeah. Go check that out on Twitter. That's pretty good. This grocery store tweet. Right.
All right. Well, this is also. Go Cyclones.
Go Cyclones.